guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a rabbit nest box built out of mainly 3/4 plywood. It's been working great for us. We've had 3 sets of bunnies come through. So depending on the size of your rabbit will depend on the size of the nest box. We have mainly New Zealand Reds and we have some Californians. So these are large breed rabbits. So we built fairly large boxes. They need to be large enough so that the rabbit can move around in it. So if it's a smaller breed rabbit, the nest box won't have to be as large. The first thing to take into consideration before you start building these, don't just take the dimensions that I'm giving you that work for us. If your opening for your cage isn't big enough, you won't be able to get your nest box in there. So the first thing you need to do is measure the opening of your cage. The opening for our cages happens to be 12 inches by 12 inches. So we built these 11.5 by 11.5. We basically built it as large as it possibly can be and still fit inside of there. This dimension right here, if I measure this should be 11.5, which it is, by 11.5. So the first thing you want to do is measure that opening. Don't build it so that this ain't gonna fit in there and then you have a problem and you have to change it. The overall dimensions of this, the footprint is 11.5 by 23. You probably could, depending on the size of your cage, if you have a smaller cage, most of our cages are 30 inches by 30 inches. These 2 cages that I have right by me here are 24 by 24. And you can see that there's not much space in here in the front or in the back. So this particular rabbit here is about to have her bunnies very soon. She just started taking grass and placing it in her nest box, and she started pulling fur. They have a certain amount of fur. If you've never seen this before, they have fur underneath their chin there and a little bit into their chest area, and they'll start pulling that and patting their nest. She should be giving birth in the next couple days here. So we're happy about that. Her nest box is all set up. I will tell you a lesson that we learned. If you don't get the nest box in early enough and the rabbits are born just directly onto the bottom of the cage, it just starts everything out bad. You don't want to do that. You want the mother rabbit to have a home somewhere where she feels that her babies are protected and it's a set up location. Everything just works out better that way. So what you want to do is when you breed the rabbit, when you introduce the doe to the buck, and when you do that, write down that date. Then go in and go 30 days. It's almost always right on schedule. 30 days from that date when the babies are going to come. But then go about 4 days before that. So 26 days from the day she was bred, and that's when you want to place that nest box. So let's go into and let me show you how I built the nest box. The first item you need is a rectangle for the sides that measures 11 inches wide by 21.5 inches long, and that has already been cut. Then I go into making the diagonal cut. Basically this is done by measuring 5 inches from the top corner and 5 inches in from the bottom corner. The line is made across and cut. Two side pieces are required, so the second side piece was traced first and then the cut is made. Next, to make the front and the top piece, you'll need pieces of plywood that are 11.5 inches wide by 5 inches tall. Now you can use a different type of plywood here. Like on the top, I substituted in some 1/2 inch plywood scraps that I had. All of these pieces of plywood were scraps that I was using, so I just used what I had and encourage you to do the same. The back portion measures 11.5 by 11.5, and this determines the actual size of the box to be able to fit through the hole. We then connect the front to the side pieces, lining them up at the bottom. You may have a little bit offset where the diagonal is, but that shouldn't be any problem. We pre-drilled to prevent any delamination or splitting of the plywood. If you do not drill, it will split. And we used a 1 5/8 screw with a 3/32 drill bit, which is basically just a 1/32 smaller than an 1/8 inch. I noticed if you use an 1/8 inch drill bit with these screws, it was too loose. Then we connected the back in the same method, pre-drilling first, then driving the screws. After that, we attached the other side using the same method, and my dad happened to be in town visiting us from New York, so he gave me a hand on this portion of it. A lot of this will be much easier if you have a second person to help you with. And the last piece of plywood to be added is the top piece, and you simply pre-drill and add your screws. We then flipped the box upside down and used a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch hardware cloth. It's basically a type of metal screen. I wouldn't go any larger than that. This really is a good size, the 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And we used the same method, pre-drilling with the 3/32 drill bit, and we used a 1/2 inch long lathing screw, which is basically similar to a button head screw, but it has almost like a built-in washer to it so that it holds that screen real good. We trimmed the edges with the angle grinder so that it was flush with the edge of the box, so there were no sharp edges or anything that might catch and cut the rabbet. We then took the boxes and placed them in the cages for the new mothers or soon-to-be mothers to use, and they have been working out great. They are great for the bunnies. It keeps them safe from being trampled, and all in one place where the mother can feed them, and it keeps the mother happy. She knows her little babies are in a good spot. Like always, thank you for watching this video. We appreciate your support. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join us on the journey as we update you on our life on the homestead.